Hey YouTube, so in this video today we're going to walk you guys through pulling the engine out of the other Aquatrax of mine. I'm doing it for a number of reasons. I want to go through that engine as well. I need some parts for this one, and it was also requested by some people in the comments, so we're going to get on that. But before any of that, I also want to show you guys some more about the turbo swap. I posted the last video in a Facebook group, an Aquatrax Facebook group, and a lot of people brought it to my attention that you also have to drill a hole into the cooling port on the cartridge of that turbo in order for it to work properly. I somehow looked over that when I was doing the research for this project, and I'm going to be going through that now so that you guys hopefully don't make the same mistake that I did. So on this turbo, because it's originally water cooled in the Zuzu Rodeos, it also has these two ports, and by looking at it, you wouldn't notice that there's much of a difference. The old turbo also has the same ports. One just has a plug in it, which I plan to swap over to this turbo. But the issue is that because this one is originally coolant cooled, and this one actually has oil flowing through those ports, this one also needs to have oil flowing through those ports. If you were to just put the other drain line on here and the plug here, then nothing would go through this. This would just be completely dry cavity. So because of that, what we need to do is we need to drill a hole through this port so that it connects with the feed up here, and then oil will flow through here and through the cooling passages and drain out of here. Now, through my reading, everyone online says to drill a 3mm hole there. Obviously here in the US, coming by metric drill bits isn't impossible. They're around, but they aren't sitting on every shelf. I'm going to be using this is a 1/8 drill bit. 1/8 comes to 3.175 millimeters. Pretty damn close. So I'm going to be using this and drilling through here, and I'll show you all that process. So I tried to get some footage of me drilling the hole, but it didn't really come out that great. But you can see here, there's the hole, goes through to this port. Got to make sure after you do it to clean out both ports real nicely with some brake clean and air hose. But other than that, now this is ready to go. You can see the old one has the exact same hole in it. Just take the plug out of this port, put it into this one, and now you're ready to go. I appreciate everybody who pointed that out on my last video, and yeah, now it's ready to go. So here we are working on the other jet ski. This ski, just a disclaimer, I got them a lot of the way apart. On this one, everything on the engine seems to be intact, but the seat, the side panels, all that stuff, they were already taken off when I got them. So this video won't really include getting that exterior stuff off of, but I'm gonna run you guys through the whole process of disconnecting everything on the engine and pulling it out. There are actually a couple things that are missing, like this pipe that goes to the intake. I actually don't even know what goes there. The battery's already taken out of it. But other than that, I think this one's pretty complete. This is, you know, how I received it. So, I didn't watch a video on this. I don't know how other people pull these engines out, so I'm just going to be walking you guys through me going at it. And the way that I normally go about taking things apart like this is taking off all the loose stuff and obvious stuff first. So when pulling this engine, you are going to leave the engine harness on the ski, not on the engine. It is not coming off with you. So that, the throttle cable, all of that is going to be taken off and pushed to the side, along with most of the coolant lines. Some of the coolant lines do cross from thing to thing on the engine. We'll be leaving those with the engine, but all of the ones that are ran across the bottom of the hull, those are all going to stay with the ski itself. So I'm just going to go from there. So I went ahead, unplugged all the pigtails up top here. I got off all the fuel injectors. This, I believe, is a fuel pressure regulator. This, I'm actually not too sure. That's a map sensor of sorts. And this looks like an idle air control valve. But so I just went ahead, unplugged all the stuff on the top, and first thing we're going to take off is the intercooler pipe and the exhaust. So I went ahead already and I loosened up the clamps here on the intercooler pipe, and then this bolt back here, it's a 12mm, that holds it on. So after you get that off, drop that washer. I'll have to find that. But the pipe just comes off there, and you can see clearly how well taken care of this thing was. So for this, I don't know what you call it. I think it's the top muffler. All it is to take it off is going to be, there's a clamp right down here, and then 3 12mm bolts and this hose. I already went ahead and broke these loose, but I'll just run those off. Got the swivel. Got those out. Already undid the clamp at the bottom. This thing should just, there you go. Wiggle that off, and then I'm going to go grab some cutters and cut that zip tie off real quick. I believe a clamp's supposed to go there, but this is how it came. So I ripped the muffler out the rest of the way. I went ahead and took the air filter and the cap off. We're going to be taking the intake tube off now. So it's just a 10mm here, and then I'm actually not sure how to get this tube out from underneath it, so I'll film that and show you guys how I end up getting it out. So after getting that 10 off, this air box should pop right out. That comes out, and then this down here actually has, I know it has some clips that go down like this to hold it in place down there. I'd assume once those are popped out, like I know this one is, I should just be able to slide it back. But I do got a hose here, and also it looks like a hose here, so I'm gonna get those off. So we got those hoses off, and I'm thinking that this will fit right out. So yeah, underneath there are pegs that go down like this. You kind of got to push the tube down, and then you got to unhook all 3 hoses from it, and then you can slide it all down underneath the intercooler. So now that that's out, I'm going to go the other side, and I'm going to start taking and disconnecting all these coolant lines and disconnecting the wiring harness from over here. So it's actually a day or two later here. I end up getting distracted with some other stuff while I was recording the other day, and today's Friday, and I actually sent my employees home early today because we kind of didn't really have a lot going on. So I was able to hook up the forklift to the trailer and pull it inside the shop so I don't have to work in the heat, and we're going to pick up right where we left off. So over here we already disconnected the coils from when we were on the other side disconnecting stuff. So there's a Christmas tree clip here. We'll lift that, disconnect this, which I think is some sort of water temp sensor, it looks like here. Probably pop it up. These connectors can be kind of tricky because they have a clasp right there on the top, and there isn't really a good place to get your finger in there and undo it. So I'll stick the pick in there and try to push down on the raised part of the clip. Honda on these actually use quite a few of these. They're kind of a pain, but once you get that off, you can kind of push the harness to the side. The zip ties holding these hoses together. This hose is what goes back to the little squirter nozzle in the back. So we can disconnect that. That's going to stay with the ski. This is coming with the motor. This hose is also coming up with the motor since we're taking the turbo off at the same time. So we're going to take off the rest of this harness here. That's the oil pressure sensor. It has like a weird boot on it there. But we're going to disconnect all that, work on getting the harness completely separate. We can leave this hose on, and then after we do that, we're going to take off the fuel lines and the throttle cable, and then we're probably going to start lifting up on the engine. At least what I did on the last one, since it's pretty hard to get the intercooler and the intake off inside the ski, what I did is I started lifting the engine up, kind of got past all the plastics, and then once I did that, I took everything off, disconnected everything, pulled it the rest of the way up. It was pretty easy. I'm not sure how that'll do this time because obviously the turbo and everything's still connected to the engine. On that one, it was already disconnected by the time I started working on it. So we're kind of just gonna have to play this one by ear. So I said that I was gonna show you guys how to do throttle cable. Last time I did it without taking the intake off, kind of by finagling it. This time I was looking at it,
There's actually enough slack on this that I think that I can do that once I have the intake off. I think that'll be a little bit easier. So what I did is, let me grab the light here. I did take off both the engine mount bolts on this side and then over on this side. So I did tell you guys that last time on the other ski, the exhaust manifold and turbo was already off. So this is a little bit new to me. Getting this one off was not a problem. I used a 1/2-inch impact along with an extension and a swivel. They're both 17s. Now the one back here was a challenge. I didn't realize how hard it'd be to get to, being as I haven't done it with everything on it before. So you can't get to the 17 unless you use a wrench, and there isn't really enough room in there to get any leverage on the wrench. So I'm sure the proper way to do this is to take the exhaust manifold off, but I'm not giving up. What I ended up doing is I took the 2 small bolts here. I don't know if you can see it, but I took the 2, let's see if I can get to focus right there. But see, I took the 2 small bolts off from the mount to the ski. So that mount is going to come up with the engine. And I was able to get that with 2 extensions and a 12mm on my 3/8 gun. So now that I got those off, kind of just looking around, seeing if there's anything I missed. I believe I got all the coolant lines off so far. All that is left holding it in is the throttle cable and the harness. For the disconnect, I think this is called prop shaft. That's what I'd assume. That's what I'm going to call it, is the prop shaft. It has a coupler. It looks like 2 hands kind of grabbing each other in there with rubber insulation. Because this one's already missing the jet pump, what I did was I just pulled the shaft back to uncouple it from the engine. On the last one, I didn't even realize I could do that until I had it out. What I did with the last one is I kind of lifted up the engine, pulled it forward, made sure it wasn't connected, kind of pivoted it sideways, and then lifted it the rest of the way out. Being as I can't do, or I may be able to do that with this, but because of the turbo, I didn't want to chance that. So when you do it, you may want to take the jet pump off, be able to pull back that shaft, or do it. You can try it like I said and just move it forward and yank it out. But now that we're at this point, I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to bring the forklift around and pull up on the engine and get at the rest of the stuff on that side. So I got the forklift here, lifted the engine up a little bit, and you can kind of see it doesn't fit out as well as I thought it would, honestly, with the turbo and all. Next time I would probably definitely go about it a little bit differently, but here we are. So I'm going to continue making the video. I still hope this is a great reference to you guys, so you know what all is involved. But yeah, no, next time I would definitely suggest probably pulling the turbo and the manifold off of it. But now we take this plate off. What we have to do is there are some Phillips head screws in here, and we're going to take these little plastic runners off. And then once we get those off, there will be, I believe they're 8mm. I'll show you guys in a minute once I get to that point. But here, and that takes this off of the throttle bodies. So I'm going to get those out, and then I'll show you guys me removing this and the intercooler together. So I took these 8s off, all up in there, and then this singular 12, and then I was able to take this whole intake manifold and intercooler combo off together, and that leaves us with this. So now pretty much all we got to do is disconnect this cable, disconnect the big positive and negative cables going to the starter and the engine, and then basically take the rest of the harness out. So I'm going to set up the tripod so I can show you guys me going through this. So to take off the throttle cable, we're going to take off this jam nut. Pop that off. And then you get it loose enough, you can take it like this. Now, the throttle cable, you kind of got to hold open the throttle body, the cable, and then you kind of, basically there's this little lead, it looks like a fishing weight, and it's got to go in, and then when the throttle's tight, it pulls it this way. So once it's loose, you have to push it kind of sideways so the cable can line up with the slot. It comes out, and then that's off. So after that, here, I'll show you guys this, but basically
we just got to take off these 10s for the big power cables, and then yeah, rip the rest of the harness out. So with the positive and negative off, all that's kind of what we're left with is this harness here. So to get it off of this end, we're going to take off this 8. Should be easy enough. And then it looks like there's 2 sensors underneath the intake. This, I'm assuming, is the throttle position sensor. There's this ground, and then also there's kind of like this solenoid on the side, and it plugs into this other one of those hard 2-pin connectors. I'm not sure what that is, to be honest. I'm assuming, I don't think these have VVT, so I don't think that's a VVT solenoid, even though it's very possible that could be what it is. Or it could be some sort of like cam position sensor. I'm not sure. So, but either way, it's pretty important, but it needs to be disconnected to get the engine out. So we're just going to pop these out real quick. That's a 10mm, and then I'll get that undone, and I'll show you guys me yanking it out. So that's the engine, it's all out. As you guys can see, this ski definitely was not super well maintained. I'm gonna be honest, part of pulling out this engine was because I was kind of hoping that a lot of the parts on it would be a lot cleaner than the ones that came out of that ski. But to be honest, it kind of disappointed me. Like I said, I got both these skis for a deal, but this is kind of annoying. Everything's so horribly corroded. Like, if you guys look in here, like this is ridiculous. I mean, this is the epitome of someone not maintaining their shit. So the engine's out, and I'm gonna go along with, I guess, trying to see what's salvageable. So like I said, next time I'm definitely going to take the exhaust manifold and the turbo off first. It was a tight fit with all of that on, taking it off. But things like that, I guess, kind of just go with it. There's a reason I'm not a jet ski mechanic, and they're all things that you pick up with experience. So, but it's definitely doable if anybody desires to go about it this way, or if for some reason it seems like the best thing to them. It's not impossible. So I hope that this video is a great reference to you guys. I hope that it kind of gets a fire under you and pushes you to go ahead and work on it if you need to. And definitely leave some suggestions down in the comment section below. Videos that you guys want to see, things that I could have done better. If you've done it, what have you done that's kind of a tip or a trick? But other than that, yeah, no, I'm ready to get this one torn down. Hopefully in the next video, you guys will see me tearing this one down and getting the other one together, so that hopefully here soon I can get one of these things in the water. So thanks for watching, and yeah.